What's up guys, welcome back to another video on Pure Panorama. This video we are going to talk about why my Glowshift gauges keep resetting back to the factory color of blue and why the memory function on these isn't working properly and keeping the green color on when I restart my truck. Alright, so you guys saw in the last video where I showed a quick clip of the gauges when I was restarting my truck at the fuel station and filling the truck up. When I restarted it, the top boost gauge had reset itself to the color blue, which is what the factory stock color, I guess, of these Glowshift gauges is when you first get them and install them and hook them all up in your truck. Now these gauges are supposed to have a memory function where they remember the color that you set them to. I have the 7 color gauge or the 7 color series gauges from Glowshift. I have the boost, EGT, pyro gauge, and a fuel pressure gauge. So I typically run them on the color green so that they match my dash cluster and the rest of the lighting in the Cummins. So what I had discovered previously, and I kind of touched on it before in a video, my Cummins died when I was replacing the batteries in the truck, and I had discovered that when I put the new batteries in the truck that the gauges stopped resetting themselves back to that blue color of what they are when you first get them, and the memory function had started to work properly, and every time I would start the truck again they were still on the green color that I typically run them on, so that, like I said, they match the lights of the truck inside the dash cluster. So I chalked that issue up to being like a low voltage type of thing, the gauges trying to draw power for them to work properly but not getting enough voltage or enough current to have that memory function work properly and do its thing. Well, things have been all fine and dandy for the last few weeks since we put in the new batteries, and today I noticed that when I fill up the truck, go to restart it, that boost gauge reset itself back to the blue color, and I can only think of it being due to one thing. I think that the batteries may be getting weakened up, not being charged properly, and that is probably most likely due to the alternator possibly going out on the Cummins. Can you see why I might think that my alternator could possibly be going bad though? You guys know that we've had a oil leak issue and oil splatter getting all over the engine bay and the lower half, the underside of the 24 valve for a little while now. In fact, we just degreased it and we're keeping an eye on it to see how quickly it comes back and starts to build up, and to see if we can't track down where that oil is coming from. But as you can see, we definitely have a little bit of oil splatter up here, which most likely probably gets on the serpentine belt and then works its way up here and just kind of splatters off onto the alternator. But that can't be good for it, and it's happened now for a little bit. So I'm sure that this thing is probably just old, and due to things like that, little bit of oil splatter and stuff, it's probably not helping it to remain healthy and function properly. I mean, if we look back here at it, you can definitely tell that it's older. It's probably been on the truck for a while. It definitely looks like it has probably been replaced at one point too, so I don't think that this is probably the original one that came with the truck. But then again, I could be wrong. It very well could be. But if I had to guess, I would guess that this thing has been removed and a new one has been put in its place. Now I don't notice any other signs or symptoms that would lead me to believe that the alternator is going bad, so I'm not 100% sure. I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just hit up one of the local parts stores in town when I'm out at work, see if they can't get a tester on the alternator and test it to see if it's healthy or if it's going bad and I need to get a new one to replace it. At this point, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea just to get a new one and put it on, just to go with the new batteries that we already have installed on the 24 valve. It couldn't hurt, honestly, just to do a new one and see if our gauge resetting issue clears up again, and see if that it helps keep those batteries fully charged. If it is starting to go bad, my only issue with that, I guess, is I don't want the batteries to be getting drained down to the point where they're not able to recharge properly due to the alternator going bad, and then I have to go out and get new batteries because these new ones drain down to the point where they just aren't able to recharge at all again. Not looking to dump a few $100 on new batteries after I just did that a few weeks back, so I guess I don't want to ruin them. So what I'm going to do actually is probably tomorrow I will hit up the parts store, see if we can't get the alternator tested so that I know whether or not I should be buying a new one to get installed on the truck. At this point though, that's the only thing I can think of that would be causing that issue as far as the Glowshift gauges resetting themselves back to that color. After I put in the new batteries and they were fully charged, had good charges on them and stuff, we didn't have that issue for like I said, a few weeks. But now after driving the truck for a little while and stuff, if the alternator is weak and not able to charge the batteries up fully, obviously then we would possibly run into the same issue again. I don't think that it's any issue or fault of the gauges, so we're not trying to badmouth or dog on Glowshift, because I have videos out stating that these gauges are fine for a guy on a budget trying to build their truck and they need good functioning gauges so that they can monitor the vital signs of their diesel truck. Then these Glowshift gauges are fine and they get the job done. It's better to have these, which are a good functioning gauge, than to have no gauges at all, rather than trying to worry about going with a high-end brand like ISPro or something. Yes, obviously if you can foot that bill and you can afford some ISPros, by all means get them, because yeah, they are a nice gauge. But if you're not looking to spend that much and you still need gauges for your truck, then there's no reason that you can't go with the Glowshifts and get yourself a little bit of a deal on them and get yourself a set of gauges installed on the truck so that you're able to monitor the things that you need to monitor and make sure that your truck is running healthy and properly. So like I said, I don't feel that it's any problem of the gauges. These gauges have been nothing but good to me. As long as you install them correctly, they're done properly, they're wired properly, you don't have really anything to probably worry about with the Glowshift gauges, and that's why I feel confident that it's not a fault of the actual gauge itself that's causing this issue. I think that it has to be due to them not getting enough power supply to them, and then when I try to start the truck, they flake out a little bit and technically reset back to that factory color. So tomorrow when I'm out there for work, like I said, I'm going to swing through the parts store, get the alternator tested so that we can see what it's doing, see if it is in fact getting weak or we need to replace it, and we're going to go from there. I will report back on this issue and let you know what I find out tomorrow when we get there and have it tested, and that's gonna do it for this video. I think just wanted to let you know that we're having the damn issue again with the gauges, and I don't think it's because of them. It's got to be something else. As always though, you know what to do. Hit that like button on your way out. If you're new to the channel, stopping in for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Join this growing family here on Pure Panorama. We got lots of stuff still to do with the 24 valve, whether we get rid of it or not. As long as things are in my possession, I typically can't keep my hands off of them. So hit that subscribe button, join in on the fun, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. I just wanna